Hi, it's Penny here from the Patchwork Angel, and I just wanted to show you this terrific little block that I've learned how to make using 10-inch squares or a layer cake. So what I've got is I've got two 10-inch squares, and we press them together because it makes them sort of stick together when you're cutting them. Then you grab one of our 10-inch by 2.5-inch rulers and one of our beautiful splash cutters, which come in aqua, pink or purple, by the way. And what you do is you actually take a 2.5-inch off each side by turning a half rotation each time. So this is what you do. Line up your ruler, cut through, pop that one up there, half turn. Another 2.5-inch off the edge, lining up your ruler. Now you will find, and I've found with this one particularly, that the layer cakes, they're not always exactly the same size. Half turn. So I just fudge it with that, to be honest. And I think that's what we all do, don't we? A little bit of fudging. So 2.5 inches again. Now I'm not going to tell you what these sizes are because it really doesn't matter. You're using your lovely 2.5-inch ruler, so you know they're going to be 2.5 by whatever. I think they start at 10, come down to 8, I think. Then I think it's 6 for 2.5 or something. I think it's something like that. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. If you really want to get funny about it and measure them all, that's fine, you can do that. Because by the time you've finished measuring them all, I will have had the blocks all sewn. So here we are, 2.5 again. Second last cut. Okay, and last cut, 2.5. And there we are, that's the lot. Now we're going to lay our block out. So we'll pop our ruler to one side and our cutter, and we'll lay out, and this would make 2 blocks. So we start with our corner, then our next piece, same as a log cabin. It's a type of log cabin, it's a corner log cabin. Now you'll notice that each of the pieces, where am I going here? Each of the pieces fit exactly, and that's not going to work when we sew them together because we've got seam allowances in there. And so that means that as we sew them, we're going to have to be very careful to make sure that we have all the endy bits, which I'll show you in a second, all at these sides here, so that we can trim them off later. So that's what our blocks are going to look like. Aren't they fabulous? I reckon they're great. Okay, so once we stitch them all together, this is what we end up with. See how I've got the pieces hanging over the edge? So I've worked it to this corner. So then I will trim that off. So then I'll end up with a block, which will be whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that. It doesn't really matter because we're not matching it up with anything at this stage. So we then trim it off. Then we'll end up with blocks like this. Aren't they lovely? So look, what you can do, you can lay them out in all different ways, and we'll show you once we've got the quilt finished. You could go with squares like that. You could do something a little bit like a disappearing 9 patch or a hidden wells by going into there. I think this is a great technique. These little jelly rolls are not jelly rolls, sorry, they're layer cakes, and there's 24 pieces in them. Most layer cakes have 40 pieces, I think, in them. Be aware of how many there are so you know how many blocks you make. But I think that's a great technique as a beginner's technique and a quick way of making a quilt for someone you love.